Okay, so we are back. And those of you that were live with Ken Maciejewski and myself, I hope that you had a great amount of information, some wisdom, and nuggets that were picked up. We did get a wonderful question that was sent to me via Messenger, and I think this question definitely is something that more than just one person has on their mind, and maybe just isn't really feeling comfortable enough to vocalize. So the question went something like this. So I'll pretend that I am the person that's interested in being the seller, and I'm just going to pose it to Ken. So Ken, you refinanced for me not long ago, and you got me that Rockstar 3.5%. Remember when you did that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like super excited, and I saved like a ton of money off of my payment, and it was awesome. Christmas presents. It was like the best year ever. So now, like, my husband and I are thinking about moving again. And, it is getting a little tight. We don't have as much space. We really would like to move. However, you just told me that rates are going up, and I'm looking at possibly 4.5%. That's like a whole percent higher than what I already have with the home I'm in, and I just refinanced. So even though I really, really want to move and maybe even build a house, I've always wanted to build a house. Wouldn't that be great? I'm scared now because I don't know, like, am I going to be able to afford it with this extra percent? Because now I'm so used to 3.5%, and that's like normal to me. So I don't know what is my incentive to want to, get my foot out there again and pay more money.
I guess that's where you have to have your so-called coming to Jesus meeting, because it is a little bit higher in the interest rate. But historically speaking, I remember when rates were at 7.5. I started in the late 90s, and people talk to you back in the 80s when they were in the teens. In the late 90s, you're in the upper nines. What happens? With the rates in the future, even at 4.5 right now, if you're at 3.5 and you go to 4.5, what's 4.5 historically speaking is just unbelievably low. I mean, when we had 7.5 and it went to the mid sixes, that was a really crazy time. We couldn't even imagine them going that low, and then they kept on going a little bit lower over the last 10 years and all the way to the mid threes. So I guess if you can look at, I would tell that person, if you can look at your husband and say, we're going to spend the next 25 years, and if your kids are, 10 and 12 now, when they get to 15, 16, 17, 18, you're going to be cramped into that house and you're going to be happy, then do it. But if that extra 1%, if you get something a little bit bigger, it's a couple $100. You just have to have your so-called coming to Jesus meeting and figure that out. But the mid fours are definitely very low. And I still think with prices right now, when we were in 2002, we're just finally up to that price again. And in 2002, rates were at 6.5%, 7%. So at 4.5, with people's incomes up, it's definitely, I think there's still a lot of potential for prices to go up. And we may see rates come back down. And if they do come back down into the fours or the threes, we're talking about market corrections, you can always refinance to get those lower rates. So, or you can look at possibly doing the 15-year. I always recommend people look at the 15-year just because it is still in the upper threes and around 4%. If you can't afford that, to instead of paying that 4.5 right now at the 30-year fixed, to do something like that. So, but definitely rates are probably going to go up over the next couple of years. So if you, I wouldn't hold off. And there might be some times when they come down for a little bit, but I think eventually they'll go back up. But who knows anymore? Really,
Right.
You just got to do what you got to do. What's best for your family. And if 4.5 scares you because you were at 3.5, it can get a lot worse than where it is. And
Sure.
a couple years later, you might regret not being able to take that 4.5.
That's a great point. That's a great point, especially in our area in Macomb. I know you and I live near each other, and there's a lot of new construction going on. So we're going to see some market shifting with that, because again, with pricing where it's been with homes, we've seen some of the highest pricing the last couple years. And now that the construction, for a while we didn't have a lot of new construction. It kind of went by the wayside. Now we see it. It's pretty much everywhere. And they, the newer construction homes, they set pricing, because a lot of times people, they do. If they can get, a brand new home with all the trim and trimmings, and, they get the grass. A lot of times they weren't doing the landscaping. Now they are. Most builders are giving you, at least like a $3,000 stipend if they can't do it now, but, they'll do it when the season obviously spring is upon us, but you know, if they can do a brand new home, you know, low threes, it's kind of tough for a home that's, you know, 15, 20 years old to get the same pricing. So we will see some changes, and I think it's just great to keep in mind that 4.5%, even 5% is not high. And unfortunately for a lot of people, especially younger people who are just entering the market, they're just starting to take a look, all they've ever seen are these historically low rates. So they don't know where it's been, and they don't know really what normal is. Normal to them is actually not normal in when you look at the scheme of everything. So I think it's important that people realize not to get scared and have everyone scary with the rates changing. When we want to give people information, it's not to scare anybody, but to just give you the information. Like Ken said, if you're going to wait, the rate's going to keep going up, not to scare you, but to let you know. But again, it's still.
But if they do come back down, then you can still take advantage of them then.
Because then you can
So,
refinance with
yeah.
Ken.
Yeah, no, you'll be able to, the rates would come down if they do, you take advantage of them. But then, you know, as you're saying all that, I'm thinking $300,000 mortgage, it's like 1%, you know, if you're paying higher in the interest rate, then if you're at 3.5, that's $3,000 a year, which you get to itemize on your taxes. So if you're in a 30% tax bracket,
There you go.
here's a number, guys, coming out. That's $2,000, which is $166 a month, which is less than what you're going to pay a therapist if you kind of lose your mind. Your kids are fighting each other in their house. So
Right, because
So you're
nobody
better
has any
off.
space.
yes. So it's
Absolutely.
it might be good for your sanity, and it might be cheaper than
We're
kinda
solving
going
the
crazy.
world's problems today. I
Pretty
like
much,
it. It's
yes.
very important.
Yep.
It's very important. Okay, thanks so much for answering that question.
As always.
Keep them coming. Ask some more questions. We're happy to do more videos. Everyone have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.